Question and answer time with Todd and Aaron.
It's time for Q&A with TNA. By the way, that stands for Todd and Aaron.
That it does.
Yes, it does. I love that it sets up all the different studios, backdrops, and just all the fun we were having. So that's good. Welcome into Q&A with TNA, which stands for Todd and Aaron. In fact, let's fix that up right now so we have it correctly. So Todd and Aaron, my name is Aaron Montgomery, our success group. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Todd Downing.
Woo! I should do a Ric Flair. Woo!
Yes, there you go. Nice. So welcome in, everybody. We appreciate everybody joining us here tonight as we get into some Q&A. Let's check in here. I know this is one of your favorite greetings that you like to do.
What's up, Chuck?
Hey, Chuck. Good evening. Appreciate you tuning in. Is that? I can't read it. There we go. Okay, Sandra. I was going to say Sandra, but I didn't. I couldn't see if it was an A or an O. So Sandra, welcome in. Thanks for being here. And Todd, another one of your favorites.
FU.
Which stands for Facebook user. I always have to clarify.
Which we know how to fix that. You just have to go to oursuccess.group/Facebook and give them permission. And StreamYard should allow you to. But like I said, I'm finding more and more if you're doing anything third party, good luck.
Yeah. It doesn't like to play nicely. So the other thing you can do is you can go over to Live OSG, or is it Fat Dad Live? I can't remember.
Yeah, that'll work. Fat Dad Live.
Okay, so if you head over to either Live OSG or Fat Dad Live, both of those .com, that will take you to the YouTube pages. And we never have any problem seeing people who are coming in from YouTube.
No,
so
the only thing on the YouTube side is, when somebody comes in is like their business page. I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. We'll figure it out.
Nice. All right. So Curtis, Kansas, 12 degrees. Not what I wanted to hear, Curtis. I'm heading that way, and the snow's starting to come down. So could be a fun drive tomorrow morning for me.
We can totally talk about travel today.
Go for it.
So yesterday at 1, they canceled Corey's flight at 8:55 this morning. Okay, cool. So you're already predicting the future that you're canceling flights. Awesome.
Yep.
So then she was able to get on another one at 1. So you're getting ready to head to the airport, and they canceled that flight. So they're canceling flights to Denver because she was headed to Denver first, and there was nothing else. And so they said, well, maybe Chicago, but there's a chance that they could cancel from there too, and then you're stuck in Chicago. So now through roundabout way, it's not till tomorrow, and we're starting at the 8 o'clock one to see how that one rolls out. But it's looking like the 1 o'clock one is where she's going. So it has completely screwed up my day because I had planned to take her airport, take kids to school, get stuff done. Kids got out early and do there. Good thing is she was home, so a lot of that extra stuff I didn't have to do. So I built 1, 2, 3, 4 shelves today. I'm about 15 minutes away from a full run of DTF. So that was nice. But now tomorrow, my day's screwed because we're not sure if she's flying out or not.
Yeah. How far away is the airport from where you're at?
From where I'm at, 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't a long drive. It wasn't a long drive or anything, but
still,
it's just the fact that you can't do anything. And then they schedule. She paid extra to have the emergency rows, so you get a little extra of that leg room in there.
Yeah.
Move her to the next flight. They're not doing that. They didn't put her there, and of course they didn't credit back for doing that. They can't transfer the baggage correctly, so they have to credit that back, and it's just pay for it at the gate again. And it's just a mess. We need a plane, man.
Yeah. Jeez. So I one of the reasons why I love Southwest is they always seem to be kind of on top of that kind of stuff. When I was coming back from Atlanta, if you remember that, I ended up having to stay an extra night there in Atlanta, and I had done the early bird, pay the $20 so you don't have to be 24 hours sitting there, doing that deal. And 3 days later after my flight, I get this thing. Hey, we're really sorry about that didn't work out and the flight was canceled. I mean, yeah, they couldn't land. It was weather. So they didn't have to do this, but they said, we're really sorry. They credited me both sides, $20 from even the one that I used and on the other side. And then they also said, oh, and hey, by the way, thanks so much for flying with us. Here's a $250 travel voucher. So obviously that's not every time, but they'll show up and do the right thing more often than not. So
yeah, it just really messes with plans when you're trying to do that. That's why traditionally when we were going out of the country or anything and we had to go, it was like, hey, can we let's see how soon we can get there. We have a couple friends that have done that when it's come to cruise season, and they've missed the boat because the flight got canceled because they decided to fly morning of, I'm like, I try to do day before early and go with that. It's worth it.
Yeah. Eric Campbell did that. Actually, he's already in Kansas City right now because he knew he was going to have to fly through Denver, and the chances of flights out of Denver are never always good things, especially during this time of year. So
it was Pilar was able to head out from Denver, no problem, but we couldn't get to, because that was the whole thing. That was the only reason we went United, was so that way she could meet up with Pilar in Denver, and then they were flying together to San Diego.
Yeah.
So we had everything planned out. It was going to work out perfect. Everything lined up, and it did not. It did not go as planned. So
yeah. All right.
She'll leave tomorrow and come back on Monday.
Fingers crossed for better travel day tomorrow. Rena is checking in from the APA show, the Awards and Personalization Association, I believe is what that is, if I remember the acronym correctly. And Las Vegas, Nevada, baby.
My first one goes to the American Pool Association.
Well, I've been a speaker at the APA show, so that's the only reason I thought of that. And I know our good friend David Haynes from Corel Trainer is out there.
I did see that
show.
I did see that.
Excellent. So, Christy, hello. Thanks for checking in. Good evening to Craig. And he says he's over there on the East Coast, and 70 today, but snowing Friday. Yeah. So the storm that's hitting us right now will be heading that way.
Yeah. I think tomorrow they're saying we're because this morning was negative temps for wind chill, snow tomorrow, and so that's what we're running into. It's like, okay, you're flying from here to Chicago through that, so you're flying through the same storm, just 24 hours later. So cross fingers.
Yeah, definitely. Brian.
Thank you. Here's a good one. Brian changed his profile picture. He's got a hat on in it.
So now we can tell who he is. There we go.
Yep. That's what I gave him crap this morning. I'm like, change your profile picture. You always have that hat on. You have a hat of that nature on. So when you don't have it on, it throws me off. It's your brand. You have to wear it.
Yep. That's his brand. I love it. Looking good, Brian. Nice job. Rena says, we miss you, Aaron. Yeah. I actually had, I don't know. So I was scheduled to speak at their show because they haven't done it. Let's see, 2000. No, I guess they did have their show in 2020.
Did they?
Yeah, because it was early enough. So yeah, that was part of my kind of crazy trip where I was in Kansas City. I went directly to APA, and then I went to ThreadX in Scottsdale, and then after I got back from ThreadX in Scottsdale was kind of when everything got shut down.
Yeah, because that weekend after that, that's when Fort Worth was, right? Because it went from ThreadX to right to that.
Yeah. And so so I was actually scheduled to speak at their show in 2021, and then that got canceled, and I never saw anything that so I just kind of assumed that since I was speaking in 2021, I didn't have to really do anything. And then 2022 rolls around, and I see this, here it's happening, and I'm like, I reached out to the lady that I'd been in contact with before, and so that email bounced, and so I'm like, okay, so new people, so I'm like, hey, I never saw anything, so just FYI, I'd love to be there and help and support and teach at your event, but you got to give me the info. So, so Rena, just tell them there that you want me at the 2023 show, and I'll do my best to make sure I get my seminars turned in.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Eric, you haven't missed really anything yet.
No, we started later. Special time today.
Yeah, we started later. Can I share why we started later, Todd?
Yeah, I think Aaron is gonna tell us why we started later today. So, floor's yours, homie.
All right. Well, we moved it a little bit later. I have had the opportunity to host a additional mastermind group. So we've got at our success group, we've got Masters of Success, great program. Really love what we're able to do with all that. The people in that group are fantastic. We're definitely open to adding to that group. So I don't want to, but on top of that, to be able to make sure that we're doing the best we can. A lot of the strategies, a lot of things that we do inside of our mastermind group comes from my work that I get to do with the Canfield group. So I get all super stoked about Jack Canfield. You know, he's kind of my mentor, the kind of the guy I look up to a bit. And if you're not familiar with him, you may recognize his name as the co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. But he's got this book, The Success Principles, that I am certified to teach. So point being, they asked for people to come and be leads in the breakout room. So they do a big group. I think they have 50 people in their mastermind group. And then they break those out into rooms of 4 or 5 people. And each room's got a lead, which is somebody like myself, who's a Success Principles certified trainer. And we lead that portion of it. And so I love doing it because not only do I feel really confident and comfortable doing it, because we use the same process that Jack does in our mastermind group, but I just really enjoy that experience, kind of being able to guide people, but at the same time let them support and help each other, and really flows nicely. I think you get some of the most brilliant ideas out of that, because I think all the little different sparks come at people and they're able to take and roll with it. So anyhow, short story, really long here. I show up to do this thing today and we get done at 5. And so I said, hey, Todd, can we just move this back? So just in case it goes a little bit long. So that's why we moved it back. But then the thing I wanted to share is, so I show up for this thing. I'm all set and ready to go. We get into the breakout room and it's me and the 4 people that are part of the mastermind group. And then in pops Jack Canfield. So it is myself, 4 mastermind people, and Jack Canfield. And I'm supposed to be leading this group with Mr. Canfield now in the room. And so I'm like, oh, crap, this is his mastermind program. People are paying him for this thing. How do I do this? My initial gut reaction was to go kind of cower. Oh, my God, freak out, get people's names wrong and all that stuff. And I said, you know what? Nope, I'm not doing that. I know what I'm doing. I love what I get to do with the Masters of Success. That's my big goal. I want to help 1,000 people through masterminding. That is my big goal in life. And so, nope, I'm not going to do that. I've been asked to lead. I'm going to lead. So I jumped right in there, and I didn't talk over Jack, but I certainly did not let him take over. And he allowed me to roll, and we did it. And he had really high praise for me. When we came back to the master group, and he said, oh, I love my group. You know, Aaron was such a great leader, and yada, yada, yada. So that's my kind of little brag that I have to do, why I'm kind of bouncing off the walls right now. I've got a lot of energy here. So there we go. Thanks.
On that, I think I look at it from that, because I know super jacked, right? You know, you're like pumped. This is great. The thing that I take most from that is the way that you've taken that and molded our group after it, because we've had people that have joined ours that have come from other ones that said, you know, we're late enough in the day that the one they put in was pretty much a shit show, right? You know, that there was no organization to it. It was just like one of these, like a chit chat party. We're just, you know, hanging out, and kind of, there was no real structure to it. There was no real point, you know, it just kind of felt a little And then, you know, there's other ones where if you weren't at a certain level, you know, in sales wise, then pretty much they told you to get the hell out of here because you were not good enough for them. Yeah. So, you know, but took that structure that you're learning and put in this, and there's been, you know, great reviews from it, you know, the experiences that people have told us. So I'm super proud of you for doing that and bringing it over here and turning this into your baby, because I mean, every day, you know, they're just pushing more and more people to, you know, find success. So kudos to you, and you know, good job with that today. And I'm sure Jack probably steps into those groups to see, hey, how are people going to do that? You know, we bring them in the lead. Now, what are they going to do if somebody else comes in here? What are they going to do? And he just, you know, hey, he brought you in for a reason, and you proved why, you know, he chose you. So good job for you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, very, very cool opportunity for me. And yes, like Todd said, getting to extrapolate from that and understand, hey, why do these things work? What's the reality behind them? What doesn't work? And like Todd said, the things that didn't work, no real organization. Heck, I know I've heard some of them are just, the person who's putting them on just talking, right? And as the moderator, and Todd and I, have a nice balance to this. We're going to share and help them where we can, but that's not what we're really ultimately there for. We're there to moderate and really support and let the whole idea of a mastermind is two or more people coming together for the greater good. The rising tide lifts all boats. So anyhow.
What I think's great with it, well, not great. I mean, it is great, but what I think is funny with them is with ours. If there's ever a chance or a time that you want to hear me not say a whole lot, that's the time, because hey, it's your mastermind. We lead in questions to get things going, and if there's something that there's really something that we can add to it, we'll. But for the most part, it's your stuff, and the way that the break rooms are set out, you go out to that, and now the way we have them set up is they're in their own ones, and we don't really check with them too much, and that gives us a chance to do our thing and see where things are, check in with that. But when we have the groups and we're there, hey. And the thing, it's a super safe zone where you can say and do whatever you want. We've had, super excited people. We've had super depressed people. We've had people that, have cried on us. We've had people that have yelled at us. We've had people that have just dropped off in the middle because they didn't like what they were hearing. We've had other ones, that have put other things aside so they can make sure that they make every one. So, I think we do a hell of a job at it. And, if anybody wants to say otherwise with it, screw you. I mean, no, no, tell us,
we're always open for feedback.
Exactly. That's the best thing about us is that I feel is that nothing's perfect, and so how can we make things better? Asking our people. We ask you guys all the time, hey, what kind of trainings do you need? What kind of information do you need? What do you need? Because we don't want to give you the things we think you need. We want to give you the things that you think you need. So help us out, help you. And that's the way we've always been from the beginning. Let us, just guide you. Don't let us tell you what you're going to do. So I'll get off my soapbox. Whatever.
No, I love it. Thanks, Todd, for sharing all that. And Eric says we're our own worst critics, and totally true. And I almost let that critic get the best of me, and I just made that choice. And I'm not saying that's an easy choice to make, but I was able to make it today, and so I know you guys can make those choices too when it comes that moment for you. So, all right, Christy says that's why we drive everywhere. Hate dealing with the airlines. We've definitely started driving a bit more. I don't think driving to San Diego from Illinois is probably
like 6 hours is my limit. Like if I'm going on vacation, 8 is it, but 6 is about my limit before I get cranky, because I don't have the greatest of co-pilot. It's like a snooze button. 20-minute car ride turns into a snooze button, and then it's just me and my own. So that's what I've learned when we go places that are going to be a drive. I'm like, okay, so we're leaving at like 3 a.m. because you're going to sleep anyway. So let me get out in front of traffic or see where we are to get around that, because by the time everybody start waking up, then we've only got like an hour or 2 to go. And then, hey, all right, we can stop now. I hate stopping for potty breaks. I hate doing no, don't drink, don't eat. Like, let's go. We're in a car. Like, come on.
Oh man. Well, my wife will actually do a lot of the driving for me, so I'm really lucky, because then I can get to like sitting on the laptop and get stuff done sometimes. But I get it, right? You want to get there, so
that's what I need. I did, because even the trip to Kansas City, it was going to add 3 hours onto it, because you have to stop at the charging stations. Or no, it wasn't 3 hours. I think it was 2 hours. But if I don't have to drive and I just hit a button and then I can work and do everything else, hey, we're going to go that route with it.
Yeah. Yep, I love it. Yeah, that is on my 101's goal list, is self-driving car. So I feel like I'm pretty darn close, but I still have to pay attention. All right, let's see here. What else we got going on? Lots of weather reports checking in. Yep, it's craziness going on out there in the Midwest right now. So coming in. And then Rena talking about APA. Don't worry, I'll let them know we miss you. Thank you, Rena. Appreciate that. Brian thought he would go long. Why? Right? Yeah. Haha. But no, we don't go long there. It's Mastermind's all about time, being on time, and holding those commitments and all that stuff. So Valerie says, congratulations, Aaron. You weren't even certified with Canfield when this series started, when we started Masters of Success. Yeah. So I was in the process of getting certified then. And so, I've been able to grow and it's been cool to grow right along with this amazing group of people that we get to work with every other week in the calls, and then daily though. I love all the chat going on, and we've got a messenger group where everybody keeps up on a more daily basis too, as much as they can. So, Sandy, good afternoon, and Lori, driving to Illinois yesterday made 20 minutes feel like 6 hours.
Yeah, that missed us. Like, we've gotten really lucky with it because Lori's 3 hours north of me, northeast, because she's between Chicago and Wisconsin, if I remember right. And me, I'm west, almost west straight from Chicago. So she's a little north, and it kind of missed us. We got the cold, but we didn't get much of anything. And knock on wood, I don't even know if it's real wood, but I'm knocking on it. We'll be fine in 4 weeks.
Yeah. All right. So Christy says, Christy is part of our Masters of Success program. She said, it's the best decision I've ever made. The Master of Success Mastermind has opened up a world of possibilities in my business. These two are great at what they do. Well, thank you very much.
That. Thank you.
Yeah, very much. Appreciate that. All right. Lori says, I am 20 minutes from the Wisconsin border. So there you go.
Or she's 20 minutes from cheese curds, because cheese curds are always better in Wisconsin. And
they squeak more there.
Yeah, they 100% do. And then I just completely lost it. The beer. God.
Leinenkugel?
I feel bad.
Leinenkugel?
Nope.
Oh,
It's only available in Wisconsin.
Oh.
And I get it every time. Green and yellow label. It's got a thumbprint on the cap of it.
Somebody will come up with it.
Why the hell am I... I'm really mad at myself now because
You're right. I'm sure somebody will come up with it for us in the chat. So
here? So there's my question. We'll start off with what's the beer in Wisconsin that you can only get in Wisconsin? It's green and yellow, and it's got the thumbnail on the thing, and it's the state of Wisconsin that's on it. There's a bunch of different flavors, but there's one that's really that's kind of their go-to for it. When we go up to Rockford, it's just a short jaunt right across the border, and I stop at that first gas station there. Let's get it. We go up to Dubuque. I do the same thing. I just hop across it and stop at that first gas station, and I go ahead and I pick up a case or two. It's kind of one of those things. Anytime you go to Wisconsin, you bring back at least a case of that beer. It's like, when you get up by Chicago, you bring back at least a case of sliders. They're not here, and you bring it there. I mean, that's how the Midwest travels.
Yeah, I guess that. Not being from the Midwest, all these fun things. I've been here for a while, but I don't have all those things that you travel across borders to get stuff and things like that. We never did that.
Spotted cow, yes. Oh, that's what it is. Keep looking right here.
Spotted cow. There you
Spotted
go.
Cow.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Lori.
100%. Thank you. I feel better.
You feel better? Yeah. Well, then, if you're feeling better, let's go ahead and get into some. Oops, there we go. Get that off of there. You ready for some questions here, sir?
Yeah. We're 24 minutes in, and remember we
might as well get to the questions here.
15 minutes to half an hour. Yeah. Whatever.
There we go. All right. So, when testing for new sublimation items, is there a good starting time, temperature, and pressure? Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
So I will give you my rundown of it because I'm pretty simple. I kind of go baseline 385, 45, and medium pressure, just kind of depending on what it is, because there's some stuff that you can bang out in like 15 seconds. I've done that with the neoprene. The coin holders. Do you know what a coin holder is? Like an Aldi's coin holder.
Yeah.
For those, and then for the chapstick holders, I think those are only like 15, 20 seconds, and you can bang it out at 400. But 385 for that 45, and then medium pressure. That's kind of where I start with stuff at, because then we can go from there. We can adjust it. But Aaron's the sub guy. I just fumble my way through it, so he will give us the technical jargon.
Well, yeah. So I'm so glad to hear that that's what you do, by the way, Todd. So for some reason, this whole concept of 4 minutes, 60 seconds became like 400 degrees for 60 seconds, excuse me, became like the standard for sublimation. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, there's not a whole lot of stuff that actually need that much time and temperature. Mm-hmm. So most people that get stuck at that 400 for 60 seconds, their blacks always look a little bit reddish to me, a little brownish to me, because they're overcooking it. So what's happening is the ink turns into a gas, and then it permeates the polyester, But if that polyester doesn't cool, that gas will continue to what they call gas out. And so it then comes back out of the polyester, and all the colors actually transfer at different temperatures. So so that's why when you overcook it, typically your blacks are going to be more reddish, brownish. Whereas if you were to undercook it, the blacks will actually look more bluish, kind of a bluish green tint to it. So that's always, so if you're trying to like test for new sublimation items, that's always a really great test to do, is just print out a black square. Make sure it's a CMYK style black. So you've got all the colors in it, not just K, right? So in your RGB, it's going to be solid black, and print out like a little black square and transfer that onto it in a couple different places. And that'll help you kind of understand where your sweet spot is for your environment and press. But if you're talking about a starting point, there's two things that I would suggest. I think, Todd, you've got it pretty good. I think 385, 55, 45 maybe is a good place to start. The other thing, though, is for the most part, your manufacturer or whoever you're buying your blanks from, they should have a starting point for you. Now, I will preface that by saying, just because the manufacturer says, whatever, 385, 395 at 45 seconds, that doesn't mean that that's like, if it doesn't work, that you should get back on the phone with them and yell at them. That is just a starting point. Your setup's going to be different than theirs. They're trying to give you as close to that, hopefully this works for most people type thing. So 385, 55, medium pressure. There's not too much that needs really firm pressure, honestly, when it comes to sublimation. You want to have even pressure. It's about even pressure. So sometimes when you're actually putting too much pressure on it, you're actually kind of then starting to have, sorry, I'm doing it down below the camera. You're then starting to have the one side of your press might start lifting up too. So, because even things like I'd put some extra pressure on maybe like a garden flag to keep it from ghosting. But if you just gave that like a little 5-10 second pre-press and then maybe used a foam piece, you don't actually need a whole lot of pressure there for something like that. So anyhow, short story long, once again, shocker, 385, 45, 55 seconds and medium pressure, probably a great place for most things.
But we can totally go a little more with this too. So
yeah,
all right, we started at this. All right, so now our colors are kind of that blue green, on that black. Are we increasing pressure? What are we increasing? Are we doing time? Are we doing temperature? Are we doing pressure? Because I always go time. I kind of leave the temperature the same. See,
you got this down. Like you read my article that's coming out in Graphics Pro magazine in April, I think it is.
Maybe I did.
My top sublimation tips. No. So I am right there with Todd that's time. So two reasons. Sublimation's got those variables that we've got to look at. So I like using time first because of the fact that if we can reduce the time, production's better, right? Every second counts. And so reducing time, if you can get into that sweet spot with the least amount of time pressing, in fact, to try to increase my production, sometimes I have been known to increase my temperature and reduce my time. Now that's, I'm pushing the boundaries there, so I don't recommend that for everybody. Just, it kind of is a little bit of an art form in that case where you're kind of like, I think this is about right. I've done enough of these things that it'll come out. So that's a great point, Todd. I think that's I would reduce your time first if you're getting that brownish, reddish look to your blacks, or if you don't have enough, if you're getting that bluish, greenish tint to your blacks, then bump up your time by 5-10 seconds, something like that.
And then we can talk about this too, because there are some fabrics that just don't like the high heat. So what's the lowest temperature that you can sublimate? 350, 365? But you got a decimal point. I know
I'm sure there is a decimal point. At 365 is kind of what I've heard, but I don't know this specific sign. Somebody told me it at one point. It was one of the sublimation guys from Epson that told me this. And it was in that 360, but it was a decimal point, but I've lost it since then. So 365 is probably Lori's actually in the chat, and she actually may know it, because the other thing is different inks actually transfer differently too. So, like a Sawgrass gel based ink is going to transfer a little bit differently than maybe an Epson based product. And then, but then there's two things when it comes to Epson. Is it an Epson purpose-built printer, or is it a third-party ink? And all those third-party inks are going to be slightly different too. And so I don't even want to get into that. But yeah, Lori says 365 is what we use. So that's great.
And then the other thing too is not all presses are the same too. So Alan's got a great one, to make sure to check with the temp gun, because I know people that even on the Stahls presses where they run 15 degrees hotter.
Yep.
So, when you're just going by that, what it says on the screen, hey, what is going on here? So make sure you check that. You'll run into that, with a lot of the eBay, Amazon presses where, the temperature's not off. The other thing too is depending on the size of what you're pressing, you might not notice that your platen has a cold spot when you're doing little things, but when you're doing something bigger and you hit that, you're like, what the hell's going on here? It's just in this spot. Get out that temp gun, check to see, hey, do I have a cold spot?
Yeah. And I've got one more. So Alan, really good point here for sure. The temp gun and doing that. I think that's a great place to start. One thing I would caution though, is not all heat presses actually read correctly with the temp gun. For example, I know the Hicks presses have a coating on it. I'm not sure if it's a silicone or something that it will actually read on the temp gun lower than it's actually pressing. So I would actually say, okay, check it with the temp gun as a good measure, because it's quick and easy. But you can buy those little thermal strips and stick those in there and actually press them, because certain presses, like I said, I learned this the hard way with the Hicks presses back in the day when I used to be a distributor of those. And the great part about that is that they don't give off so much heat, and they're actually more energy efficient. But at the same time, you can't measure it accurately with a temp gun. So anyhow,
did not know that. Great information.
Yep, going deep there. Lori says lower than 365, and you're not going to release the ink well at all. Perfect. Yes, Lori, perfect. And then Craig, just like the myth 300 DPI for images for print. Yeah, definitely not a myth there too. So these things happen, right? We've heard all sorts of great myths. The 460 seconds on the sublimation, 3x your price. There's another fun myth.
Oh, I hit somebody. They just said double their stuff yesterday. It was amazing.
Double, yeah.
You just got to double. Whatever I'm doubling, that takes care of my labor. Like,
perfect.
It was. So here's what it was. It was a hoodie, right? So let's start with the hoodie. It was just a base hoodie, right? It had 2 print locations that were 2 colors. Okay. It had a total of 3 more print locations. Well, vinyl isn't that much. So when you factor it in there, like, you are going to lose money on every one of these. And
the old face palm.
A good conversation to have with that.
Yeah, Lori agrees with me here. Suppliers' time and temps are not a Bible verse either. They are starting points. Your press is going to dictate possible modifications. Yeah, even people, like I said, I've said this many times, and I'll continue to say it because I truly believe this. You got somebody like Condi with a David Gross, who's just a great guy and has that engineering mind. And I'll say this over and over, and he's probably forgot more about sublimation than I'll ever know. But even what they share, very rarely do I end up at that exact time and temp, even if it's a product directly from them. So, again, it's a starting point. So good point, Lori. Thank you for sharing that.
There are another reason I take it. There are vendors that'll tell you to dunk your mugs.
Oh God, no, we're not going there, Todd. We're not doing that today.
Just saying.
That was a Band-Aid for bad coating back in the day. Coating's way better nowadays. Okay, let's just leave it at that.
Dunk your mugs, man. Dunk your mugs.
It was a Band-Aid. All right. But these types of things are really interesting to me, because you see this all across. I know, like, I could bring up some things around, like Terry Combs, who's Mr. Screen Print, teaches screen print classes and stuff like that. And there's a lot of things like that still happen today in screen printing. That's just a Band-Aid that fixed something back in the day, but the technology is better now, but yet people are still doing it just because, some old guy taught them how to do it, and then we dunked the mugs. No,
Well,
we don't need to anymore.
The way that I showed people to not do it is get one of the mugs that has the colored inside, right? Dark color preferred.
Yeah.
And then do that. And then don't wipe it out or anything. Just pour it out and kind of let it dry, because it will haze up and you'll be able to see those micro fractures in the bottom there. In a white one, you're not going to see it so much, but in those, you can definitely see it. And that's it's a great thing to show here. Here's what's going on with it. But leave the Dunkin' to the Dunkaroos.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Dunkin' Donuts, Dunkaroos, or whatever. Yeah. Lori, Todd, no, and no. Yep, there we go.
No.
All right. And I missed this earlier. Linda, thanks for tuning in from Trinidad and Tobago. So
that's awesome.
That is really awesome. Appreciate that. All right, Todd, you ready for the next question here, sir?
Sure. Let's go.
Oops, I got to get the comment down. Okay. There's the banners. Okay. Is there a reason I would need more than one type of design program? I think this is a great question, Todd. I'm curious to hear your take on this.
So, yes. So the short answer is yes, because not all design programs can do everything you need it to do. Case in point, I'm kind of rolling through that right now because, I'm a Corel kid. Does everything I need it to do. I've never ran into any issue until yesterday. Yesterday was the first time I ran into an issue because I need a white channel for my rip. Now, in my previous rip, the rip took care of it. It knew full white, it read the white in there and just would automatically do it. I'm using this Flexi does not do that. So I can't.
Is there another rip you can use? Sorry, I
will be able to get another rip, but the CAD Link rip that they recommend for this one, and I don't know if Onyx, if I can make Onyx work, because with Onyx I'll be able to, or even what's the one you use, Wasatch?
Wasatch is what I can
use it all for everything,
Yeah.
But with the CAD Link, it's just specifically for it. And it's like $1,400 for the wide format one. I'm like, I'm not spending $1,400 on that.
Yeah, I get it.
So I had to set up an action in Photoshop that will go ahead and add that spot color to it. So I don't know if maybe it's in Corel Paint in that side, and that's why not on Corel Draw. But I'm not 100% sure. I tried messing with it and tried doing everything I could, and I could not make it work. And I got it to work in about 4 minutes on Photoshop side. So I said, okay, worst case, it's going to add 30 seconds to a minute to each job, to just import it in here, add it to it, and export it out. So yes, I have done that. I've also ran into where some programs just won't open up certain certain files. So, you have to have it. For us here, we have on a regular basis, Corel, Photoshop, and Adobe Illustrator. Adobe Illustrator, I pay every month for it, and there's 2 people that send me stuff that it opens perfect in it, and it's worth it for me to spend the $40 or $50, whatever the hell it is a month, to not have to spend an hour going back and forth on emails. It's just okay. This is the cost of doing business. So yes, I would.
And you just build that cost into their price.
Yeah, it's just part of it. We just have it.
Yeah. Yeah, so Eric says Photoshop, which is photos and pixels, meaning the little color dots that make up all the images, versus Illustrator, Corel Draw, which Todd was talking about, which are vector images, which is basically lines and shapes that are created in the background by math. As opposed to a map of color pixels. Yeah. So
like maps, no good. I need help. Math, I can rock with that. So
there you go. There you go. Whatever. And I agree with you, Todd, that I think people try to make, in fact, I know I do this. I try to make Photoshop work for everything that I do because I've been in Photoshop and it's what I know and it's easy for me to use. But I don't do a lot of, I don't cut vinyl. I don't need a vector line. I don't need all that kind of stuff. I'm mainly doing sublimation, some direct garment, stuff like that. So you don't necessarily have to have both. But depending on what your business does, you need to have the right tool for that job. So just because somebody says, oh, you should be using Corel Draw, not saying that you can't do sublimation with Corel Draw, but you may want to look at something like a Photoshop to do sublimation because you are dealing with more photos and photorealism at that point. Again, not saying that Corel can't do that. I know plenty of people that do just fine with Corel Draw and their sublimators and their stuff looks great. Todd is case in point. And so, but vice versa, right? Like if somebody says, oh yeah, you really need to get Photoshop, but you're doing cut vinyl and vector style graphics, screen printing, things like that. You might not need that kind of stuff. So you definitely, I agree with Todd. You probably just need to make sure you have the tools for what it is that you're trying to do. So the quick answer to that is a yes. And Eric did share that it should be in Paint Shop Pro. So.
It's another thing where I'm opening up another program that I don't use a whole lot to learn about. And when I reached out, because, prior to this purchase, I talked to other people, hey, how are things going with it? What's going on? And I didn't think on the whole software side of things because I've done it this way and it's worked up until now. So after I reached out to those same people, it's like, hey, I'm using, what are you using? They're like, Corel. I'm like, awesome. How did you do this? They're like, Photoshop. They're like, we couldn't get it to work right. We were having issues with it. It just became, an easier thing to just import it in there and, set the action and just go with it. So
there you go.
That's what we've done. And I'm sure it can be done. But that was the thing where it sounded like it was on the paint shop side of it. And so if I'm already opening up another program, might as well go with the one that I know is set and ready to go on it. So getting those, getting that software, because there's so much that is there. And even now, recently, I started using Canva more, there's another program for it because of just how quick and simple it is for things. So
there you go.
I like it. I think you want to have look at it this way, right? In your toolbox, do you have one screwdriver? No. You have multiple screwdrivers because you need them for different jobs.
Yeah. You got a flathead, you got a Phillips, you got different sizes, right? Yeah.
You're always missing the one you need. That's just how it works, right? It's like that 10 millimeter. You're not finding
That's right. All right. Dean says monochrome is a white channel. So there's an idea for you. Eric shares, I've done vector stuff in Photoshop, but it is a real pain. Yeah. I laid out a sales flyer in Photoshop today, actually, and probably took me about twice as long as if I would have just tried to go with Illustrator or Corel, but I don't use those very often, so it may not have taken me less time. Right. Now, somebody like Todd, it would have taken them maybe a third of the time, because that's probably the better tool for something like that.
And that's the thing, you get into that, you're there and you're already halfway through it and you're like, oh, I should have did this in there. Well, now I've already invested the time, so I might as well finish it.
It's all good. John, thanks for joining us, tuning in. Good evening, John. And all right, so ready for the next one then?
Yeah, let's give her a go.
All right. So just starting out in sublimation, so I was wondering if you could recommend a product that sells well for spring. Now, I know, Todd, that you said that I'm kind of the sub guy, but you're kind of the, what's hot when. So I defer to you here.
If you're starting off, one thing that you're going to see is vendors push a new product every 3 or 4 days, because that's their job. Their job is to sell product. So they're not going to say this is the best product to have, because guess what? In 3 days, this is the best product to have. In 3 days, this is the best product to have. So I feel if you're starting off, one of the best products that you can do, and it's going to depend on the size of your printer. That's the key here. If you have a wide format, a desktop one at 13 by 19, garden flags. I think garden flags, because you can do so much with those, and you can go different ways with it. And you can kind of just focus on that product, and you can be the garden flag queen, or king, depending on who you are.
Yep.
So you can just that would be the one product. If I'm looking to start something off, and that's what I really want to push for the spring, that's what I would do. Between I know a couple people that are even doing the the flag club. Where they've set up a subscription box where they're sending a new flag every month.
That's a great idea.
And so it's a good thing to do. And if that's all you're doing, man, just kill it with it. When it comes to flags, I guess I'm kind of I'm biased. I'm not really too keen on the double-sided flags, because I usually have it it's up at my house facing this way. What the hell do I need the back side of it for? Creates more labor, more chance to screw up, so I like the single-sided garden flags with them. So that was what I would go with. If there was one product going into the spring that you wanted to do and wanted to you're just starting off, because they're really forgiving too. They're not super hard. They don't take super long. You just got to make sure that you have that print size for it. So that's what I got. What about you there, sir?
Yeah, I think that's a really great idea. Flags didn't actually pop into my mind until after you said flags. I'm like, yeah, damn it. That's a good one. So really great idea, and I also like your point about the suppliers. They're gonna share lots of things. They're trying to get more products in your hand and see what's going to stick. And they may have like, here's something hot for spring, but I'll also tell you from being the person on the other side of that email, because I worked for one of those distributors for a long time. A lot of those things are also created based on what they've got in stock and what they need to get rid of too, right? So we oh yeah, how can we say this is a spring? I mean, we would have mugs be a product for any season, right? Oh, perfect time for spring to get a coffee mug. Why? Okay. So there's that. So just clarify a couple of those things there. I think a product that, well, with spring, again, what your niche is probably going to be a little bit, but let's just kind of be agnostic here. If you're at all aligned with any kind of sports type stuff, I would look at socks and arm sleeves. I think that's an underserved market. I know I coach volleyball, and even the club that my son doesn't play for anymore still buys socks from us. Right. So, and our current club wants them, and we've made arm sleeves for them and stuff like that. So, and they're spring sports. So you've got that kind of stuff going. I think another thing that would be worth looking at is some of those Valentine's Day themed kind of ideas. So I know I just said coffee mugs, whatever, but his and hers coffee mugs with a coaster set. There's so many cool products. So I might not look specifically at products. I would look more at the niche or the, Valentine's, St. Patrick's Day. I know we're already past Valentine's Day, but you getting some of that stuff, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, you can get into. So maybe more themed, I guess, would be where I would head, Todd.
Yeah, I think you can theme it for sure. And that's where, stick to that. When I say niche on something like this, stick to that product. If you're just going to do flags, that can cover everything.
Yeah.
There's so much you can do with it. What we did over the last 2 years is for the graduations, so for here, home of, and there is that. We've done signs and banners for it, stuff there. So why not? I know somebody that does a camping one every month where it's different for their campsite, because there's so many people that camp on things. And I personally like the flags that you guys carry. So I dropped that link there in the comments. But cool. Those ones press amazing, and they're super simple. You just got to make sure that like I said, that you have the printer that can print the size needed and the press that's the size needed. Same thing on the arm sleeves and the socks. You want to make sure that you're able to print those in one press, or one sheet, because once you start trying to piece things together, you absolutely can piece transfers together if you want to, and do multiple pressings on it, but that becomes a time factor, and time is our biggest cost. Labor is our biggest cost, and so the more time you spend on something, the more it costs you to make. So
I love it. Great stuff, Todd. All right, well, let's catch a couple of the comments here real quick. John, I don't think either Todd or I have an answer for this, so I'm just going to put it out there. Maybe Todd does, and I just don't know this. But John asks, anyone here do any font creation? If so, what software are you using?
I had one because I had talked to somebody about it, and I wonder if let me see if I have it in my bookmarks real quick.
Okay. While you're looking that up too, one of the things we don't always get to all the questions that come through in the comments. We try to obviously interact. That's what we're really here to do, is interact with you guys. But if you do have a question, the way we normally handle questions here is if you go to oursuccessgroup.com /QA and put it in there, because that also gives us some time to make sure that we do some research, or Todd does some research, really, more than he takes care of us here. So Todd, while you're looking at that, let me Font Forge. F-O-R-G-E. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I would grab other thing for it. F-O-N-T-F-O-R-G-E. I think that's what it is. So I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But maybe.
All right.
I see that in my thing here.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Linda says, been using Corel since WordPerfect and Adobe since PageMaker. When companies changed, I went completely to Corel for Sublimation, BN 20 FlexiSign and with TRW Wizard. And I can understand Corel. I mean, you've got the stuff like the TRW stuff out there, you know, and you've got people like Corel Trainer and stuff like that. So I get why people use Corel, and I think it's a great program. But yeah, what is it that you're ultimately trying to do? Is Photoshop a possibility? You know, you've got Sublimation there, but the other things, I don't know. You know, I mean, I think you probably are good with Corel. So she says, not looking for change, but I know I need to. You know, so yeah, you take a look at that.
Yeah, and it all depends because, like I said, I've been, what's it, 15 years, 16 years, come somewhere around there. I got to do math. I think it's 15, but in order to make sure that things were good to go with it, you know, we have to look at, hey, how often am I going to use this program? Is it a one-off thing? If it's a one-off thing, then maybe see if somebody else can convert the file for you. But if it's something you're going to start using on a consistent basis, yeah, maybe you should check and see what's really there and what can be done with it. Because you know, I started looking more at, you know, the time thing. Like I said, for Adobe, I use it for, you know, a couple clients and that's it. Should I learn it more? No, because I really don't need to.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's there if I do need it. And when it's just simple enough to know, hey, when I'm getting this this file from these clients, I just know I'm just going to open it in that, and I'm going to convert it to what I need to, and then move on with it. So, you know, I'm not going to see, you know, any big issue or anything with it.
Sure.
And it just works and goes from there.
But typically, though, Todd, just to be clear for everybody, if you've got CorelDRAW, you probably don't need Illustrator. You've got a special use case that makes sense for you, and that totally makes sense. I get it. But for most people out there, you probably don't need Illustrator if you've got Corel. So even somebody like Linda here is maybe looking. You can get Photoshop, I think, and it's been a little while since I've looked at just the standalone kind of Photoshop thing, but I think you can get like an educator version or whatever. And it basically just doesn't come with the, I can't remember all the specifics of it, but you've got everything you need in Photoshop. And I think it's like $10 a month. So you could just do that subscription and try it out for a couple months at $10 a month and see if it's going to fit your business. So just a thought there.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. So you got to find out what's best for you and your business. And the only person that really knows that is you. I can't say this is what you should get and this is what you need to get because I don't know that.
Yep. We'll just continue to give our opinions and hopefully you guys can take that and use that to better your business there. All right. So Christy shared pre-pressing flags is key. Learn that the hard way. Yep. I think as many people have. Where I learned it the hard way was when all of a sudden the rage of these black and white checkerboard flags came out and was making a ton of those and felt like every other one was ghosting. It's like, black and white check. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. What else we got? Whoa. What happened there? I don't know. We're moving back.
Bouncing around.
Wasn't me. Linda talking about ideas for spring cruising items, and then I think we talked about Dean had camping stuff, and I think you talked about camping too. Curtis, tumblers. Tumblers seem to always be in season for sure. And Lori says garden flags can be used as home decor inside too. Dowel rod and ribbon is all that you need. Oh, that's a brilliant idea, Lori. Thank you for sharing that.
Thinking that's the noggin right there.
Yeah. All right. Now, this definitely being there. It goes again. All right, we're just gonna leave it. Let's see. So Eric says I've tried making my own font. John Parker replying to John, but there are a variety out there from free to paid. So, and then Todd shared Font Forge here. Thank you. Craig shared old one was Fontographer or such. So there you go. Some good stuff there. Nice. Eric shared, I've used HiLogic's main type, and they have two types, pun intended, Font Creator and ScanHand, different use and price points, but the company makes solid software. There you go. So great feedback and perfect. All right. Dean says, I used to be in Adobe for years, then with Corel. I think Photo Paint Pro does everything Photoshop does.
Nice.
All right. I've Photoshop's kind of been my jam. So I just, again, like Todd said, there's no reason for me to change. So why spend the time? Okay. So got that one. What's the next question here, Todd? Nope. We got that one.
Yep.
How do I open accounts with wholesale vendors?
Call them.
Okay.
Call them or email them. I mean, that's probably the easiest thing because they'll tell you what the requirements are. Some don't need anything.
Yeah.
Some need the state or county ID. Some need the federal one.
Yeah.
I think the easiest thing to do is you just email them and inquire about opening an account and what they need. I've seen more and more, especially over the last 2 years, where they're not requiring as much to get in there. So anybody can go in there and buy stuff. So it's best I feel to reach out to them and see what the requirements are.
Yeah. Yeah. And most of them do have some sort of a, wholesale, apply kind of thing where it's going to give you a little bit of information. But I agree with Todd. I think the best thing to do is if there's somebody you want to buy from that, has got products that you'd like, and don't just go out and buy it retail from them. Ask them, what's it going to take? I mean, if you are a business, you really should have a federal tax ID number and a sales tax or state kind of ID. I get it, right? It's a pain. It's another thing to do, whatever. It costs money. If you want to be a business, this is part of the barrier to entry, right? And once you do that, then you've got it. And then you get easy access to everything. You want to go buy from JDS, you're all set, right? You want to go wherever, and you should get better pricing at that point too. So, yeah, I agree with Todd. Just reach out, email them, phone call, whatever works for you. All right. So that one was quick and easy, Todd. How about this one? Is there a white poly shirt that is not see-through available?
Dude, shirts are the devil to me for sublimation. So that is not a question for me. I don't know. I'm sure there is, but I don't do enough apparel to say yes. This is the one. The one that I would use, was the blend. Was the 21 or was the 21M, Jersey 21M. And
that's not a blend though. It's 100%.
Yeah. So the 21M was my go-to for it, and it wasn't that see-through.
That would be my suggestion is the Jersey 21M, because I don't find it to be that see-through.
Right.
Now I'm blanking on the name. The people that just make sublimation shirts.
Vapor.
Thank you. Good grief. I don't know. I kept wanting to say Sawgrass, but Chris came from Sawgrass and Jackson came from Sawgrass, and then they started Vapor. Okay. So Vapor Apparel would be another one to look at. Their shirts are definitely not see-through. In fact, to me, they're almost too thick, but that's just my own personal preference. So, all right. Let's see. Got anything else here? Vapor Apparel. Thanks, Craig. Yes. I don't know why I was blanking on that. All right. Is there a difference between craft vinyl and pressure sensitive vinyl? Todd, I know nothing.
The name,
true, but okay.
That's pretty much it's what they're calling the product. If somebody's looking for vinyl, it's like sign vinyl. Sign vinyl is the same thing. Pressure sensitive vinyl, craft vinyl, adhesive craft vinyl. There's the Cricut craft vinyl. There's a lot of different names for it, but most of them are kind of putting it as their own name on it, so that way it's easier for them to market it as kind of their thing. Pressure sensitive vinyl, kind of the PSV, has kind of been the one that I've been seeing a lot more lately.
Okay,
but I see a lot of places that are bringing stuff in from overseas or from other vendors and then just reselling it as their own. So then they're kind of saying, hey, it's our craft vinyl. This is our adhesive craft vinyl. This is our pressure sensitive vinyl. They're pretty much all the same thing.
And my understanding of this, Todd, and I'm not going to say like this is definitive and I will, but what I've heard is that really there's only about 4-5 places in the whole world that make vinyl, and then it's all, like you said, rebranded down to whatever it is. So yeah, like craft vinyl. Todd, does anybody sell a craft vinyl that is also heat applied, or if it says craft vinyl, does that always seem to be pressure sensitive or sign vinyl?
Always seems to be pressure sensitive.
All right.
Man, I don't know. Everything's changed. Every
Sure,
day.
somebody could, but
It's-
to the best of your knowledge. Okay,
right.
good.
Yeah. Now on that there is the the cast versus calendar on vinyl. So that's the big difference in those two. But as far as one that can be go to on everything, I don't think there is.
I don't think there is either, because they're two different formulas really for making that stuff work. So, and the pressure sensitive vinyl would be where you're cutting and masking.
Well, they've listed it as on a roll too, so it just depends, because it's the same thing, it's all they're doing is cutting a roll down the sheets, they're getting in a 150-yard roll and then just cut.
Yeah, but how do you apply a pressure sensitive without masking it?
Say, okay, let's back up a second.
All right.
What's that got to do with cutting it? Whether it's on a roll or a mat, it's still
no, not cutting it. No, I'm sorry. I just meant applying it. Like,
applying it. I think you said cutting it.
Mask pressure sensitive.
I think you said a mat.
No. Mask.
There
Sorry.
we go. Yes, you will need a mask. Then there's a whole different, to get in. Are you going to use a paper mask or are you going to use a clear mask? Like AT65 is my go-to for everything, unless we're doing a large install, and then I'll go to our paper. But AT65 is what I use for just about everything. Now, even our StarCraft, it says StarCraft on it. It says StarCraft on the inside. It says that, but my gut tells me that it is AT65 because a lot of that stuff comes from a lot of the same places, and it's just redone. So it's just how it goes. You'll see that a lot where people are bringing in stuff and they have it called different colors, but it looks exactly the same. That's because it is. They just brought it in. It is their brand and has it at that. The best that I say is stay away from. Yes, I will say stay away from buying, vinyl from suppliers you don't know of, especially on places like Amazon.
Yes.
Because, you're not sure what you're going to get and how it's going to work. So find a good vendor, work with them. There's plenty out there. And some of them are on Amazon. Just check the vendor, read the reviews on stuff. Amazon's a great thing, except for, for us, sublimation supplies. Dude, Amazon sucks for it because everything, every mug, every puzzle, every photograph, everything is sublimation. And then you just read the reviews and they're like, it's not sublimation. It's not that.
Yeah,
but people see a price point and they're like, oh, this is great. I can get it. And it doesn't work. So read the reviews.
Because the other thing I'd be really wary of when it comes to vinyl, especially the pressure sensitive stuff, they still use formaldehydes in some of that stuff when it's not a quality, when it is some of this overseas stuff. They don't have the same requirements. And so, we've seen that. And, people putting that on a tumbler, do you really want to be putting vinyl that's got formaldehyde in it on something that somebody's going to be putting their mouth to? I'd feel
maybe if you're going on a date.
I don't know. And then Eric says, like Cricut's infusible line versus sublimation. Infusible just meaning you can infuse color into it with sublimation. So, okay. All right. So we got craft vinyl versus pressure sensitive vinyl. We got that. Okay. We're over an hour, but should we get one more?
Yeah, why not?
Let's just clear it out. We'll be back next week.
Next Wednesday. Yep.
So you guys got to make sure that before we get to this, you got to get over there to oursuccessgroup.com/QA and get your questions put in there. So we've got some things to talk about next week. But let's clear this out here, Todd. Is it okay if I'm just starting out to buy a press off of Amazon?
You buy what your budget allows for. Just know that when you're buying an Amazon one, you're kind of just rolling the dice. I know some people that they have worked amazing at and haven't had any issues with it. And I know other ones that they've caught fire within the first couple of uses.
Yep.
So you're just kind of rolling those dice. But, hey, when we started, it was a cheap one. I think it was like $125 or whatever. And then we just kept investing and getting in there. That's what you got to do. Everybody starts at different levels. Nobody woke up. Well, I don't know anybody that woke up and said, hey, so I've got an unlimited funds and I'm just going to start making shirts today. So what's the best equipment I should buy?
Yeah.
You start with that and go.
And if anybody does have unlimited funds, I'm just going to interrupt you real quick, Todd, because just reach out to us. You can find us over at success@oursuccessgroup.com. We will help you in so many ways. But sorry, that was more of a joke.
Hey, and we might even cut you in a little deal. Hey, we'll hook you up if you hook us up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with you, Todd. Wherever you're at is perfectly fine, and you got to start somewhere.
Mhm.
I would say that if you're at that place though, where you're kind of like, if it becomes like, oh, I can afford this one, this better press, but I'm just going to go with the cheap one. You're going to end up spending more money by going with that cheap one than if you would have just gone ahead and gone with the one that you could afford. It maybe wasn't, but if that's what you can afford, then it's a great place to start. Like Todd said, there's some challenges you just got to be aware of. There could be cold spots, there could be pressure issues,
Mhm.
there it could catch on fire, and so you got to be prepared for that kind of thing. I've situations where certain things, early on in the vacuum press world, and there's really still the only way to go is you're importing those things.
Mhm.
I told people buy two.
Yep.
You need to have one there for the parts.
Same thing on some of those. We've got a 12 by 12 one that we take when we do shows because it's super light, super compact. But guess what? We bring along another one just in case, because you never know. Things can happen. Things don't work, and that's a whole other ballgame when you set up to press on site at places. It's like you're basically pressing for two shows because everything you need, everything that can go wrong will. So it's just peace of mind for it. But I almost look at them, they're disposable. If you get, years out of it, awesome. But it's the same way when you're converting these printers,
Yep.
I've seen them last 3 months. I've seen them last 3 years. Just know that as soon as you buy it and you put ink into it, the chances are it's going to die eventually. So just budget that you're going to have to replace it. You can do whatever you can do to take care of it, but just know that it is not a permanent solution. It's just a consumable. The whole thing is a consumable. It's just going to go. You're going to get another one. And if you know that going into it, because I have seen a lot of people that have bought a press off that, and then they took a job for something that quits working, and they don't have it there for it. Aaron will give me hell, but I let somebody use my press when they're there, and that's been 3 years ago. But they still have the press.
I totally forgot about that too. Now I got to get back on giving you a hard time about that.
Well, the only reason I thought about it was because now that the only thing that I really used that press for was because it was a 16 by 20, but it was a side to side. And what would I say? It's side to side, so it was.
It's a swing away.
Wider, right?
Yeah.
So it was wider. It was longer, wider than it was top. So on the doormats, that you could get from Home Depot, that my Home Depot quit carrying, so that I'm just like, screw it. I'm not, I don't do them a whole lot, Well, that would fit perfect on it because I could cover so much area with it and get a bigger design on it. Well, I let somebody borrow it because, we went to a DAX show and they needed help with it. I'm like, I got a press for you. I'll get it. And, it's now been 3 years and I should probably get it back one of these days.
All right. Yep. Now I'm going to write this down so I don't forget to keep giving you a hard time about it. That's how I get people into action. Just give them a hard time long enough that they'll finally just be tired of me. No, very, very nice of you, Todd. You did your part. Now it's time to get your equipment back. So
especially now that JP Plus is carrying those mats and I can order them. And
there you go. Let's get back to it. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So
there's another spring thing. Doormats. Doormats.
I like it. I like that a lot. Great idea. Okay. Well, so that covers us for questions. Like I said, I agree with Todd there. Get what you can get, but just always remember that's an investment, right? I mean, if your business is heat pressing items, that is the core of your business.
Mm-hmm.
So, starting off with the $200 press, that's fine. But understand that ultimately, as your business grows, you need to be thinking about reinvesting into, Todd, your journey is perfect example of this, right? You started there, but you kept reinvesting, right?
Yeah.
You didn't just go and complain about how your heat press never works and you've got all these problems. It was, hey, this is where I'm starting. Okay. Business has grown. I put some money aside to make sure that I'm able to reinvest. Now you've got this beautiful DTF printer that, you've reinvested in, that kind of thing. So
one of the other things too is, somebody says that, everything off Amazon that you're going to buy is a cheap Chinese import. Where do you think most everything else comes from? Legit.
Yeah.
Just about everything comes from over there. So you can't use the cheap Chinese thing. There are some that are better than others.
Yep.
It just a lot is on the support side of where you're going to get it from. And I've seen a lot of those presses come down, and Heat Press Nation is a good one where they've got some very budget friendly entry level ones. Like even us with the StarCraft one, for the price point on it, you're going to spend $100 more than what you would off something off Amazon. But what you're going to get and who's behind it. So just do your research on it.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, make sure that you've got somebody to back you up. Like you said, Heat Press Nation or Todd with that. I just if that's what your business is all about, then make that investment. Change that mentality from it being a cost mentality to an investment mentality. How much could that make me, right? And then go from there. So. All right, I'll get on my soapbox if I keep going, Todd. So we're gonna. Linda says I'm very leery of buying an unknown quote vendor. So good. Mo, we said we're already an hour. She said I've got another hour if y'all want to keep going. So
Fatty hasn't eaten today. I've worked nonstop all day, so I'm gonna eat.
I watched the pizza man show up on my ring while we were doing this, so I'm ready.
Yes.
Let's see here. Wendy says, in our early days, we got a press from Amazon, warming hot foo face. No joke. That was on the press. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Dean says, I'm just laughing, thinking someone at the show and it catches fire.
Dude, you know what's happened. What's happened.
Yep. Let's see here. Christy says, start off with a 12 by 15 Vivor, needed bigger. So I bought a 16 by 24. Vivor still works great. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Same as Matt's past versus present. Started with a SUNY 16 by 24. It was the best I could afford. Absolutely.
Yep. Great
job, Evelyn. That's what you want to do. Still working. Bought an extra. See?
Yeah.
So you figure out what works for you. And yeah, we're never here to talk down to you about where you're starting. We just want you to understand where that fits in your business. That's the core piece. So maybe at some point, if you're feeling like you're not getting there or you're having a hard time or, your products aren't always coming out as great as you think, maybe it needs to be, you got to look in the mirror and say, what do I need to invest in myself, in equipment, in whatever to move on to that next level?
Yeah. I just counted in our regular rotation of presses that gets used. We've got 6 of them,
Yeah.
And, we've got, the StarCraft one and the Stalls ones are kind of our go-tos. But then we still have our Hicks, and then we've got a couple of the Amazon ones, that are especially, that are set for certain things. It just it works. We did that when we were doing pressing, like we pretty much pressed everything on site. But at the mall, when we built a display up front right in the window, Santa was right down the way from us, so we put the little 12 by 12 up there. Here's your ornament selection, and it was set for ornaments, and that's all that thing did. So you just start looking at things and you get what you can get, and then you just reinvest when you can.
Exactly. Well, Kylene made 5,000 ceramic ornaments this last fourth quarter on a 10 by 15 Caesar one of those red Caesar presses. So
there you go. See, you can kill it on it.
Yeah, and we've got a nice George Knight sitting next to it, and but like you said, it's set up for that. So no changing, no adjusting. In press, process was down. The timing of it was just right for that amount of, laying out ornaments versus pressing time and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
So
once you have it down, you go with it.
Go. Yep. All right. Cool. Well, Todd, I think we've covered it all here, sir. So
we did.
Anything else that we need to share with folks, or time to go get some dinner?
Next one will be in March. We're at the end of the month already, so that means we got upcoming. We've got what do we got? Book group starting up next month, right? So we've got that coming up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We've got training coming up in 2 is that right? 2 Wednesdays? 2 Wednesdays, right?
Yep, that's right. Two Wednesdays. So 2 weeks from today, we've got training. So let's go back real quick to the book group. Definitely want to make sure we share about that. oursuccessgroup.com/OBG. And OBG is just a play on Our Success Group. So it's our book group, and it's an opportunity for people to get together and read one book a month is what the club's all about. You can jump in for the month and join us, or you can, join every month. The first book that we're going to participate with is Atomic Habits by James Clear. And so even if you have read it, I think this is a really cool opportunity to look at how you can implement those strategies and ideas from the book into your life, into your business. So the way it works is we start reading the book at the beginning of the month. We've got a Facebook group for people that are in the group, and Wendy Rossman, one of our Masters of Success members, and I believe she's here in the comments too. She is moderating and kind of managing a lot of that for this. So kind of powered by Wendy, so to speak. She's got a whole great program together so that there's ways to check in, so you're staying on track, where you're at. Let's get this book read. And then at the end of the month, there are 2 Zoom calls. So we did it, I think it was a Wednesday night, and then I can't remember the other date now off the top of my head.
Sunday.
Yeah, I think so. Just so that way they're both going to be similar, same. You can come to both of them if you want. It doesn't mean you have to pick one or the other. But if the one doesn't work for you, then you can always get the next one. And that's really an opportunity to kind of dig into the book as far as, okay, what are the strategies I need to take out of that? Talking about that, asking everybody kind of what they took from it. So maybe somebody else took something from the book that, in hindsight, you go, oh yeah, I actually could really use that, right? And that'll be helpful. So I'm really excited about this. This is a cool opportunity. It's $25 a month, and I can't remember how much off. I think it's 60% off actually that we just said we'd take. And the coupon code is 2RG. I put that. There's another coupon code out there, but the one that comes to mind right now without a lot of digging and looking is 2RG, and that'll get you 60% off that first month of being a part of that. And so that'll start on March 1st. So make sure that you get signed up for that. Todd, anything else on the book group that you wanted to share?
No, I think it's going to be a fun thing to do, because it's about, I was going to say business books, but it's just not all business books either.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that's going to enrich yourself and your business. How about that?
Yeah. Wendy's picked out a nice, and the other part is we've got some books kind of in the queue here so that we're ready. But as people join the group and there's certain things that they're looking at, they're like, hey, I'd like to learn a little more about this. But Wendy's done a really great job of curating a collection that, like Todd says, gives you a nice overall holistic look at business stuff, personal development. She's got a whole list of different things in there that'll cover a lot of ground.
And then maybe I wasn't paying attention as well. But did you also say that everything is going to be available on Audibles too?
Oh, yes, that I did not say that, and that's a really good point. So, yes, one of the other things that's been real important about the books that are being picked out here is that not only can you obviously get the paper version, but they will all also have an audio version that you could get. So it's Audibles. Typically, we'll make sure that it's on Audibles, so you can buy the Audibles version if you'd like. So yeah, you get the book. We'll have links in there that'll direct you to it if you need help finding it or whatever. But wherever you buy your books from, or if you want to listen to them too, so they're typically between 5 to 6 hours at most of listening time. Is what Wendy really helped me kind of pull together on this for. Again, whole idea is to make this useful and valuable. If people know anything about our success group, our whole point, our whole mission is to provide actionable resources. And if it's just adding one other thing to your plate, then that's not actionable. So we want it to be actionable. We want it to be valuable. And Wendy's done a great job. And yes, Wendy says, don't forget about your local library. You can even check out some of these books and not even have to purchase it. Just don't write in the margins on those. Okay.
Right.
All right. So that's that. And then, yeah, you were starting to talk about training coming up in 2 weeks too, Todd. So you want to share on that?
Yeah. With that one, I'm going to screw this up because
That's okay.
It's not, who do I screw it up with? It's going to be Charlie, right?
Yep. You screwed up with Charlie, but it's not Charlie.
See?
You got it. You know who it is though, right?
But this one is going to be on copyright, right?
Yep. Copyright and trademarks. And the guest presenter is Jimmy Lamb.
Yep.
And
why? Why?
Yeah. No, I'm not going to say that. Maybe Jimmy won't show up if I start making jokes about him. But both amazing guys, both Charlie Tablieb and Jimmy Lamb, amazing guys. But Jimmy is going to be with us on the 9th, and he's got a whole presentation put together for us on copyright and trademarks, and just really kind of utilizing, managing, navigating. He is not an attorney, so coming at it from a decorator's perspective. So he's basically translating all the legalese into, I know I've done this before. I know how to navigate this stuff. Here's how you do it. So March 9th, Todd, if they want to join that, we've got 2 different programs. If you want to just get in and be a full member in our success group, we call that OSG Squad. And you can sign up for that over at oursuccessgroup.com/memberships. And that's $79 a month. And you've got everything. You got all the recorded trainings. You've got the Facebook group, the challenges, the multiple Zoom calls, the 5 Keys program is part of that as well. So you've got all that. But then for other folks, Todd, that are just kind of looking to, hey, I'm real interested in this, or we call it the DIY version, I think is what would best describe it. So tell us a little bit about that particular program, Todd.
So for Club OSG, right? Club OSG, You're going to jump into that. You're going to be able to take part in the initial call. You won't get the follow-up call, the call to action call, the implementation call.
Implementation call, yes, sir.
For that, but you will be there for the live training. You have access to it for 90 days, and then if you would choose, you want to purchase that down the road, you're also going to get a deep discount on purchasing those as well. So you have access for 90 days, $5 for your first month, and then after that, it's only $20 bucks?
No, 19.
19, yeah. So see, so definitely a way to get in there and to get into training and to get some of this great information that we put out there for you.
Yeah, wonderful. All right, guys. So check out those things. If you guys have any questions at all about OSG, about anything we've talked about, though, you certainly always feel free to reach out to us. Best way to reach our success group is by email, success@oursuccessgroup.com. But we are also very accessible a lot of other ways as well. So we just want to be here to help you and support you. And, our mission to provide actionable resources that empower business owners to achieve their idea of success.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and another thing, next Tuesday, because Tuesday is already the 1st. So that means office hours is going to be
office
Tuesday.
Hours. That's right.
6 o'clock, right after Tuesday with Todd, we'll go into office hours for that as well. So if you are in the 5 Keys program, hey, office hours. Right
there you go. Yeah, it's a great point. I can't believe that it's already coming up on March here. So March 1st, office hours. Again, like Todd said, if you're an owner of the 5 Keys program as a standalone, that's available to you. Or if you're an OSG squad member, that's available to you. Masters of Success is all part of the OSG squad. That's the add-on, the mastermind add-on to that. So any of those 3 groups, we want to see you guys there on those Zoom calls. We're just talking about how to implement those foundational tools and how we can best put those things into action in your business. So love those implementation and the office hour calls, Todd. Those are great. And I think there's a ton of learning that goes on there.
Me too. Yeah. Yep. So busy week coming up.
Yeah, definitely. So I am off to Dax, Kansas City tomorrow morning. So wish me luck on a safe trip.
Yeah.
And Todd, you've got airport and then Daddy daycare.
Yeah, Daddy daycare. Mr. Mom's back.
Mr.
DTF
Mom
printer,
is back in effect.
The DTF printer will be functional tomorrow. I think we're good on it. There's one thing I am not 100% sure, but maybe after dinner I'll screw with that some more. But it's already 7 o'clock and I've been working since 7, so we'll
get some food, go get some rest, and thanks everybody for being here. We appreciate you tuning in, and then we'll talk to you again next week. We'll be back next week for another round of Q&A with TNA.
All right, see you guys.